Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are going to learn about the top 10 settings which you need to incorporate to level up your Excel game altogether. So I had run a poll on my channel and I have received an overwhelming response from you people that you guys want me to prepare an entire series on Excel for financial professionals. So this series is not only for freshers, but it is also for professionals and experienced candidates who have been working in Excel from quite some time. Because reason being that in this series, what I'm planning is I'm planning to start right from the scratch and I want to cover all the advanced topic also, be it dashboard creation, be it AI features, be it macros, anything which you can mention which would be relevant for a finance professional. So the question arises that okay, there are n number of videos out there in the market. But Rajat, what makes your video or your series different from others? So guys, I understand there are many videos out there in the market, but none of the videos are comprehensive enough or none of the videos are updated enough as per 2025, which will give you complete guidance on how to use Excel efficiently. So I saw and acknowledged this particular pain which students and professionals had. That's the reason I planned to come up with a series that will be entirely free for everyone who are watching this video. So before diving into the settings front, let me just make you understand the impact which Excel can have on your life. Well, throughout my journey, I have mentored many people, I've run many seminars, webinars, you name it. And in all of these seminars and webinars, the one thing which I have found common is that people often, especially finance professionals, they often underestimate the power of Excel. They basically think that Excel will only be used for carrying out basic calculations, for just using some of the formulas like VLOOKUP, SUMIF, pivot tables, etc. But there's a lot more which Excel can offer to you and on top of all of these functions which I've just mentioned. And because of that, whenever any situation comes in their job or even when they're trying to create any of the reports, often they prefer to choose the long way instead of choosing the shortcut. So there are various shortcuts which have been introduced in Excel, but what people tend to do is people tend to follow the traditional approach. Like I'll give you an example. I'm pretty sure that if you have been working in Excel, you must be using VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP to do your lookup functions. But very few people are now using XLOOKUP, and even some people are still using index match. I'm not saying index match is bad, but what I'm trying to say is that we have a better and a simpler alternative in place. So it's always a smarter choice to go with the simpler version rather than going the long way. So in this entire series, I'm going to explain both the long way and the short way, so that will give you the sense that okay, if I'm using this particular formula from day 0 onwards, I need to switch to this particular formula or feature so that will make my life easier in the long run. Also, one more thing, many people also ask me that Rajat, since AI is coming into picture, a lot of companies are incorporating AI into their day-to-day work stream. So do you think that Excel will become redundant or Excel is becoming redundant? Well, I would say no, not in 2025 or not even for the next 5 years. Reason being that if you'll just do a random search on LinkedIn, just go to LinkedIn, search for Excel and then click on jobs, you will find more than 30,000 jobs which are looking for candidates who are proficient in Excel. So that's the importance of Excel for a finance professional. It's like a bread and butter. So guys, before any further ado, let's start with the first section of our video, which is understanding the settings which you need to incorporate to enhance your day-to-day efficiency in Excel. I'll be using a Windows laptop to demonstrate these settings which I'm going to change. And if you're using a MacBook, you can follow the same steps. The steps will remain the same. It's just that the nomenclature and the placement of the features might be different. But if you get stuck anywhere, feel free to drop a comment and I will help you out. So the first setting which we need to change is to change the default font name and the font size. So first click on File, then click on Options. After clicking on Option, a window will open up. Over here, just under the General tab, just come over here and by default it will be written body font. Just click on the body font. So professionally, the font style and the font name differs from corporate to corporate and from industry to industry. Like I was previously in steel industry, there we used to follow Arial 11. Again, it is up to you. So what matters is the standardization. Like you can use Calibri 11 also, you can use Arial 11 also, both are acceptable. Even you can use Times Roman also. But during this entire training, what I will recommend you is to use Calibri 11 or Calibri 12. 12 is also fine. So let me just stick with Calibri 11 and I will click on OK. So it will ask me that please close and restart Microsoft Excel so that the font change can take effect. So what I will do is I'll just close the Microsoft Excel and I will reopen it. There you go. Now our default font style is Calibri and default font size is 11. This is the first setting which you need to do. And along with that, there is another setting which is a subset of this is make sure that whatever page view you have selected, make sure that you have selected the normal page view. So if you have these shortcuts displayed on your screen, just make sure that you have clicked on normal, or whenever you receive any Excel workbook, make sure that you click on normal. Because I've seen many people, they usually work on the page break view. So page break view will only be used when we are trying to print a document or when we want to see that whether the margins in a document will be perfect or not once we print it out. So make sure that you always set your default option to normal while you're working in an Excel workbook. So Excel is not only about using formulas or doing some advanced calculation, it is also about sanitizing and making sure that we are using all of these standard practices correctly. Because anyone just by look at your workbook, they'll be able to say that whether you are proficient in Excel or you're not proficient in Excel. So it becomes very important to make sure that you are aware of these all small things. Second setting is more with respect to branding of your Excel file. So whatever Excel file which you are making, you need to make sure, or even if you have received the Excel file from someone else, you need to make sure that your branding should be there in that particular Excel workbook. How you can add your branding? Just click on File and go to Options. Over here under the General tab, here you will get the option Personalize your copy of Microsoft Office. So here automatically my username Rajat Jaiswal is written. Now it is up to you whether you want to change it to your name or whether you want to change it to your organization's name. Anything is fine. It entirely depends upon your organization and whatever the policy which is there. But make sure that something is written over here. It shouldn't be blank or it shouldn't be any just random name. The third setting which you need to change is make sure that your office background is circuit. Because many a times I have seen people, they have different office background and it doesn't look professional, because at the end of the day, we are finance professional. We are the owner of the data. We are the owner of the workbook. So we need to make sure that in whatever workbook we are working, the theme, the style, everything should be dot perfect. That's the reason. Make sure you select office background as circuit, and in office theme, if you want, you can select black. Black is completely acceptable. You can select white also. Right now, I was using the system default setting, which is white theme. But let's say if I just select on black and I click on OK, you can see that my entire Excel workbook has been changed to black theme. It becomes soothing to our eye. But sometimes, when we are presenting our screen to our bosses and superiors, they tend to get slightly irritated with the kind of theme which we have. They say that why are you playing with the Excel, or why are you changing the theme, so on and so forth. So again, this I leave it up to you. Please follow the process, whatever is acceptable in your organization. The third setting is with opening an Excel workbook. So whenever I open an Excel workbook, you can see that when the window opens up, automatically my fresh Excel sheet is not getting opened. Right now you can see that a blank workbook is not automatically getting opened. I'm getting this particular window. Here I'm getting the list of the files, list of the recent files which are there. And over here you will get some of the preset files which have been prepared by Excel. So what we need to do, we need to make sure that whenever I open my Excel workbook, automatically a blank Excel workbook should be opened. So how can we ensure that? Again, we need to click on File. We need to click on Option. Under the option, under the General tab, you can see that there is a Startup option which is there. Here what we need to do is, we need to uncheck this, show the start screen when application starts. I'll just uncheck this and I'll click on OK. Now, I'll just close this Excel workbook. I'll click on Don't Save. I'll again open an Excel workbook. Now just see what happens. Automatically, this time, instead of giving me the option whether I want to open a blank workbook or some of my recent workbook, automatically a fresh Excel workbook or a blank Excel workbook will be opened and I can start my work directly from here. Although this function might not look fascinating to most of you all, but let me tell you, even if we save at least 1 to 2 seconds in Excel, it matters. It definitely matters in the long run. So what we are trying to achieve over here is, with the help of this entire video series, I'll make you smart enough that you don't need to use your mouse even once while you're working in Excel. You will only have to use your keyboard and all your work will be done. That's what I'm trying to achieve. That's what I want you all to achieve. And guys, feel free to practice along with me. You can pause the video and feel free to carry out all of these setting changes on your laptop. The fourth setting is activating the developer tab on your laptop or on your Excel. Right now you can see that my developer tab is already activated on my Excel. So in case if you don't have this developer tab in place, what you need to do is you need to just right click on the ribbon. So this is known as ribbon. You need to right click on the ribbon and then click on customize this ribbon. You need to click on customize this ribbon. Over here on the right hand side, you will find various options. And over here, all the options which are displayed on my screen over here, it is checked over here. Let's say if I don't need developer tab, I will uncheck it and I will click on OK. You can see that my developer tab has disappeared. Now, as a prerequisite, you should be having developer tab in place because you'll be using various VBA functions, macros throughout our discussion, and you need to get your developer tab in place. So that's the reason what I will do is I'll just do a right click on customize the ribbon, and I will just check developer tab over here and I will click on OK. Automatically my developer tab will be visible. So this is the next setting which you need to carry out on your Excel workbook. The next setting is more to do with increasing the speed of your Excel workbook. So automatically by default in your Excel workbook, your calculation has been set to automatic. Let's say I'm just typing a VLOOKUP formula. Automatically after typing the entire formula, once I click on enter, I'll get the answer of the VLOOKUP formula. So that's what is meant as automatic calculation. But let's say if I have a very large Excel workbook, which is of say 15 MB, 20 MB size. Most of the financial models are more than 10 MBs. So let's say I have a very large financial model and I don't want Excel to do calculation on each of the steps which I'm carrying out on the financial model. So what I can do is I can change the automatic calculation to manual, or I can again switch the manual calculation to automatic. So how we can do it? There are two ways of doing it. The first way is a longer approach. You need to click on file. You need to click on option. After going to option, here you can find an formula tab over here. Over here under the formula tab, you can see that you have the option of workbook calculation. Right now it is automatically set to automatic. You can set to manual, anything which you want. Let's say if I'll set it to manual and I'll click on OK. Now whatever calculation which I'll do on this particular workbook, I'll not get the answer as it is. Only and only once I'll click on that run the calculation, then only my formulas will be calculated. So I'll show you the practical use case in the further session, but just for the time being, just try to understand the concept. So now what is the shortcut? Again, I'll explain you the long way and the shortcut both. It is up to you which way benefits you or which way suits you. So instead of following the longer approach, what we can do is we can just click on formulas. And over here on the right hand side, you can see that there is an option of calculation options. Just click on calculation option. Right now it has been set to manual because I have just changed it. I'll just change it to automatic. Now my calculations will be automatic. So whatever VLOOKUP, SUMIF, whatever formulas which I have carried out, all the formulas will run in the background and I'll get the latest answer or the updated answer. So this is the next setting which you need to set up. By default, if you're working on a smaller dataset or a smaller file, make sure that always and always you have set the automatic mode on. Otherwise, you can activate the manual mode. There is one more setting which you are going to use right now, which will solve all your circular references error which will be facing in the past. So I'm pretty sure you must have come across many circular referencing errors. So for those who are not aware, what is the meaning of circular referencing error? So let's say I have product A and the quantity is not there and the rate is 1000 and the total is also not there. What is the formula for getting the total? The formula is quantity multiplied by rate. This is the formula, right? And let's say if I want to keep my quantity as balancing figure. So what I will do is the formula for quantity will be total divided by rate, right? Total divided by rate will be the formula for quantity. So if you are not being able to understand how to write these formulas in Excel, don't worry. In the next class, I'll take 20-30 seconds and I will tell you how to activate the formula mode in an Excel workbook. So once I click on OK, you can see that I'm getting this circular reference error. What is the meaning of this circular referencing error? So this total is dependent on quantity and rate, right? And now in the quantity cell, I am keeping it dependent to the total. So in a way, both are being dependent to each other, which causes circular referencing error. Many times, mostly in financial modeling and also in some of the detailed reports or comprehensive reports, these kind of mistakes are very common and you don't need to worry about it. What you need to make sure that you are able to identify this particular error and you are able to resolve it. So make sure this particular setting is activated on your Excel so that this will help you to detect the circular referencing error. Just click on File, click on Option, and over here come to Formula. Over here you will get the option Enable Iterative Calculation. If you will click on Enable Iterative Calculation and if you will click on OK, automatically the referencing error will go away and it will automatically do the calculation on its own. Let's say if I'll write quantity as 15, let's say I am getting 15,000 over here. If I click on equal to, if I'll just select quantity divided by rate, I'll click on enter, I'm getting 15 over here. In a way, this is doing my calculation and my circular referencing error is going away. But you can do this. If you have a small data set, you can activate this particular setting on your Excel. But if you have a very large data set, I will personally not recommend you activating this iterative calculation. Reason being that let's say if you are doing sensitivity analysis. So as and when we will progress into our sessions, I'll explain you how to do sensitivity analysis also. In our sensitivity analysis section, we are going to change a variable and basis the change in the variable, we are going to see what is the impact which has been done on the other variables. In that case, make sure that you don't check the iterative calculation. But again, if you have a very small data set like this, if you have a list of products, if you want to get a near about correct answer, you can activate the iterative calculation. So I'll just deactivate this because I usually work on large data set and I don't want my Excel to do iterative calculations for me. I'll just deactivate it and I'll just click on OK. So now I'm again getting the circular referencing error. There are two more formula related settings which we are going to change. Just click on File again, click on Options and over here click on Formula. Over here you can see that this is unchecked. I have unchecked it. So what is the meaning of this R1C1 reference style? Once we will click on R1C1 reference style, just take a look over here. Here my columns are being denoted in alphabetical order, which is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and my rows are denoted in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, basically numerical order. So once I will just click on OK, you can see the change. Now my columns are also denoted in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is getting confusing, right? But you know, in some of the countries like Germany and also some of the European countries, they usually follow these kind of settings in their Excel. And if they, let's say if I want to write a cell referencing. So first of all, if you're not aware what is the meaning of cell referencing, don't worry. In the further classes, we are going to cover it. Let's say if I want to select this particular cell, which is A1. In our terms, it should be A1, but here it is 1, 1. So I will just write R1, C1. So what is the meaning of R1, C1 is row 1, column 1. So this is how basically if you have changed the setting or if you are working with overseas client, you might get some Excel file wherein this setting is already activated. So what you need to do is you should be aware that how you can change this particular setting. So here you can see I'm getting R1C1 over here. R stands for row, C stands for column. But if you'll ask me, I'll not recommend you to activate R1C1. So what I will do is I'll again click on File, click on Options, under Formulas, I'll just uncheck this. Make sure you uncheck this. This is one particular setting which you need to uncheck always and always. One more setting which you should be changing over here is just scroll down and you will find the option of error checking rules. Over here, make sure that if you're working in a very large data set, make sure that you uncheck all of these options before proceeding or before working in any financial model or in any large data set. Just uncheck this first option, which is inconsistent calculated column formula and table. If you are not aware what is the meaning of it, you can just hover to the I button and you will get the meaning of it. If I'll explain this, it will make the video very long. So make sure you can hover it and you can just understand why I am unchecking it. Also uncheck, this is the first option which you need to uncheck. Also uncheck the formula, this one, which is formulas inconsistent with other formulas in the region. Then the next thing which you need to uncheck is formulas referencing to empty cell. Make sure you uncheck this, and also uncheck misleading number formats. So these are the 4 things which you need to uncheck, and then just click on OK. So after you have carried out these settings, whenever we will work on sensitivity analysis in a financial model or in a data set, automatically your answer which you will be getting, that will not be influenced because of another formula which is there in the worksheet. So make sure you uncheck those, and it will not even impact your day-to-day Excel work also. Next setting is to do with your autosave option. So if you have not uploaded your Excel on OneDrive, or if you have not taken a subscription of Office 365, your autosave option will be turned off and you will not be able to turn it on. So many times what happens is that people work on a particular workbook and they forget saving it each and every time, because of which they tend to lose their entire effort, entire work which they have done. So there is another option. Even if you have not hosted a file on OneDrive, or if you don't have any paid Office 365 subscription, what you need to do is just click on File, click on Option, then over here you will find the option of Save, and here you can see you will get the option Save Auto Recover Information Every. So right now it has been set to 10 minutes. You can change it, you can reduce it, you can increase it. I will not recommend you to increase it, but again, the option is there. So what I will do is I'll just change it to 1 minute, because I want my Excel to save this particular workbook on the temp file each and every minute, so that if I have worked on my workbook, if I forget saving it, or if my laptop gets crashed or hanged, then automatically my data or my effort is saved. I'll just click on OK. So this is also done. Now let's learn the last setting change which we need to do. This setting change is optional. If you want to activate, you can. If you don't, that is also fine. So by default, if you'll just write anything in a particular cell, and if you'll click on enter, automatically your selection will go to the cell down. Like I had written Rajat and I've clicked on enter, automatically my cell selection has gone from C7 to C8, right? What if we don't want to move our cell selection to the next cell? If we want to freeze it to the same cell in which I am editing it, there is a way in which you can do this setting change. But again, this setting change is optional. If you're comfortable with it, then only do it, otherwise don't. Just click on File, then click on Options. Under the option, you will find the Advanced tab over here, and under the Advanced tab, you will find the option of Editing option. So there are many other options which are there over here. You can just have a look and you can customize as per your need. So right now what I'm going to do is I will just uncheck this. So this option is basically after pressing enter, move selection. So if I just uncheck this and if I click on OK, I'll again write, let's say Rajat over here, and I'll click on enter. You can see that my selected cell is not going down. It is remaining at cell C10. And no matter how many times I press on enter, I will not come to the cell down. So this is how you can activate it. Also, there are various other options which you can do in this particular thing. Let's say if you don't want your cell to go down upon pressing enter, you can just click on select right and you can click on OK. Now whenever you will click on enter, your cell will go on the right hand side. Again, this is entirely up to you how you are comfortable in Excel. If you are just starting your Excel journey, I will not ask you to experiment much, but make sure you are aware all of these functions and all of these shortcuts and settings which are there in Excel. So right now I'll just put it to down because I am accustomed to using the down function over here. I'll click on OK. Now once I click on enter, my cell selection will come to the cell down. So guys, that's all in this video. If you really like this video, don't forget to give a thumbs up to support me. And also if you have not subscribed to this channel yet, please make sure you subscribe it and press the bell icon, because I'll be uploading frequent videos on this particular series, so that if you'll follow this particular series, that will make you much more efficient in Excel. Also, do let me know in the comments, how did you like this video, whether you loved it or do you have any feedback or concerns for me. I would surely love to incorporate from the next video onwards. This is Rajat signing off.